Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines, and most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Nick, my man, let's go. Sonny Sharma, good morning, Orange Shirt Freight Freaks. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Orange Shirt Gang in this house. Got a lot to talk about here today, you guys. As always, the market is every other news article that I'm seeing out there right now is about the market. So we're going to talk about that today. Before we get into anything, though, you guys, diesel fuel is on the fall actually right now. The EIA.gov is where I get all this information from, and it shows that, and it was released yesterday, and that diesel is down to $3.78 a gallon nationwide, which is a really good sign out there for the drivers and everything else. Everything that we can do to lower those costs are very, very welcome out there in the market, to say the least. And I get all that information from the EIA.gov. And, you know, you guys keep that in mind if you ever have customers out there that make you bid line haul plus fuel on your RFPs and everything else. We want to just make sure that we're staying ahead of all of that. Also, podcast with Michelle McGinnis is live right now, you guys, with My Cargo 247. Check it out, you guys. Like, I'm going to actually put this up on my live show here because I thought this was awesome. I actually did this in the episode. And here, let me try and get this all pulled up here. Perfect. I just want to show you guys, like, I don't get paid for this at all. I just want to be abundantly clear. I just want to show you guys this, though. If you guys go to mycargo247.com, and you can put this up here. You know, again, we're just going to do contractors equipment. We're going to do $400,000 as the postal codes. We'll do 85225. That's here in Chandler, Arizona. And then we will do 65424. I don't even know where that is, but let's see here. Is that even it? That's not even a valid zip code. All right, let's go. I should probably just put a real zip code in there. Hold on, you guys. Here we go. All right. So this is how easy it is. And again, I don't get paid by Michelle at all. I just thought this was awesome. So contractors equipment, cargo values $400,000. Get your instant quote. Look at how fucking quick that was. Quack that was. Like, seriously, you guys. So if you're out there and you're needing additional insurance for whatever reason, or if you're needing, you know, on a shipment by shipment basis, because you're a broker and you're just starting out, this gives you an opportunity to get in and you can purchase it really quick. Or if you have any questions, you can go out there and talk to Michelle on that, you guys. Again, I don't get paid by Michelle. I don't get any commission or anything like that. I just think she has a sick product, and it's something that a lot of us need out there, because insurance is such a hot button issue. And we just need to be on top of it. We got to make sure our products taken care of for our customers. And, you know, this, for those of you out there who are, you know, you might only have $100,000 in cargo insurance and you want to move a couple of high value loads, this just gives you an opportunity to get out there and do that, you guys. So check it out. Michelle's episode is available live right now on iTunes and Spotify, as well as just go to her website there, you guys, and check it out. My Cargo 247. I think it's a great tool that we got out there. Hold on. Let's see here. What do we got? Ooh, we got a quote coming through. Let's go. All right. Hold on, you guys. Got a reply. Got to reply quick. Got to reply quick. That's how we do it. That's how we win freight. Where else are you guys going to be able to watch somebody bid and win freight live on a show, right? Right here is where you can. Tracy St. Clair, good morning to you. Stephen Tittle, let's go. He says, good morning, orange shirt gang. And Stephen Tittle also says, we've been using My Cargo and Freight Guard for excessive cargo coverage for a while. I love it, man. Michelle's got a great product. She really does. I don't think enough people out there are aware of the fact that they might not even have a piece of cargo that is on their truck right now that's not actually insured due to exclusions and everything else. So check that one out. Mark Jones says, create a good day. Robert Bain, dude, I appreciate that, man. You just made my day, sir. He says that handsome face has been missing from my mornings these last couple of weeks. I've been here every day, man. I missed you. Dylan Turner, good morning. Trying to get back on schedule with these. I love it, man. Thank you for tuning in. And you guys, we're just going to do a live bid here. Let's see. I got a customer who's coming through. We're going to use green screens, you guys. I use green screens for every quote that I do. You guys, every single quote. Georgia to Kansas for a dry van. All right. We're bidding this live on the show, you guys. All right. And for all my carrier friends out there, I'm bidding $1 a mile, right? Because that's just how we do things. I'm kidding. I'm joking. We're not doing that. That was a joke. But I am bidding on this live on the show, you guys. And I am using green screens because we got to get rates back to customers. Okay. We got to get rates back to customers here. We got to get it back to them quick. Let's go here. If it picks up on that day, 2 days transit. All right, I think we'll pay 222. All right, and we are bidding on this live right here. We're going to bid $2,700 on this one. Oh, all right. All right, let's go. Bid live on the show. And I use green screens, ladies and gentlemen. I use them for literally every single rate. As you can see, I just bid that out there. And I told you literally the lane and the rate that I just did. But go right ahead, you guys. Let's go. Yeah, you guys, speed's everything, right? Like, especially in this market, this is a newer customer for us as well. And I want to get our response time back. So it's like, again, I got them within 4 minutes, you guys, 4 minutes of receiving that email. I responded twice, once letting them know that I'm working on it, and the second time with the rate. All right. So speed is everything. And again, I always put transit times in my quotes as well. And if you guys aren't doing that, start doing that, you guys. If it's 1,200 miles, let them know it's 2 days transit. 1,800 miles, let them know it could be up to 4 days transit and stuff like that. Separate yourself, you guys. Just do anything you can. All right, let me see here. Corey Buchan, good morning. He says over on YouTube, you guys. Also, all right, we're gonna get down to some articles here. We have a newsletter. My marketing guy keeps telling me to remind people this. Every Friday, if you go to thefreightcoach.com, you can register for this newsletter. Okay. I'm not going to auto sign everybody up for it, but go over to it. We're trying to grow our media presence out here. We're trying to get other forms of content out there. And that's what we're doing. So go to thefreightcoach.com to register for that. And as always, you guys, if you guys find value in what you hear on these shows, subscribe, you guys. Share it out there to your network. If you think more people need to hear what we have to say on this platform. First article, though. We're going to break this one down. This one is from FreightWaves, you guys. FreightWaves.com. Historic rate disparity could cripple service in late 2024. Ooh, we're going to put our thinking caps on here for this one. Van contract initial reporting of average base per mile is out there. Okay, I don't know. Truckload rate continues to show strong elevation in relation to spot rates, excluding estimated fuel costs above $1.20 a gallon. The historic spread currently at 30% versus 12% in 2019 suggests there's an extraordinary amount of potential. I want to a potential disparity among rates in the truckload market that could leave several shippers without a truck when the market inevitably shifts. Contract or long-term rates are generally negotiated on an annual basis between shipper and transportation providers. In an erratic capacity environment, these rates are subject to midterm renegotiation, both higher and lower. This is where the paper rates originates because they are as thin as paper in terms of reliability. Right. Let me see here. On the spot, spot rates are negotiated on an ad hoc or transactional basis and are typically only good for a matter of days. I would say your spot rates are only good for a matter of hours, and you need to put that stuff in there, especially if it's a truck in hand situation. Very rarely do you bid on a spot load that's going to sit for 4 or 5 days. It's going to usually move within 24 or 48 hours. And I would always put that in your rate response to your customers that there is an expiration date on that if they don't list when the potential shipping date is in the email. And then from a carrier's perspective, the spot market is a place to fill gaps within their network, aka backhauls, or haul more profitable freight. The former is more in the case of the market that we are currently in, though there is always this potential. Too many trucks for too long. The current market is historically oversupplied, with capacity having been inflated to an unsustainable level by the pandemic era consumption boom. The US truckload market has been in a recession since 2022. And looking at an example of supply and demand dynamics in the form of active motor carrier property out there versus the outbound tender volume index, capacity is falling while demand is stable. While this is not a perfect comparison, since operating authority can be 1 or 5,000 trucks, it is a good indication that capacity is coming offline and the market is moving toward equilibrium. And the current ratio of operating authority to tender is 31-1. Historically, the market has been tight when the ratio is below 24-1. The ratio peaked in 2023 at 37-1 and was at its lowest in 2020 when it was at 16-1. This is by no means scientific, but just a way to estimate where we are in the process. I actually like that data point a lot. I think that is a good point to highlight there about when they're operating authorities. There's 31 operating authorities to 1 truckload out there, and then it's tight when it's at 24-1. So we're kind of I do agree. I think that's actually a really good one to see. And let me see here. Chasing the bottom. And then it says during this lengthy downturn, rates have been pushed to levels where carriers are at or below costs as they bid against one another to maintain volume to support their fleets. Traditionally, there are shippers, carriers, and brokers who offer rates based on spot market rates, which are largely below operating costs for carriers. Shippers and brokers who have long-term rates at or near spot market prices are at the most risk for increased levels of service failure later in the year. And it's hard to tell, but spot rates are already trending higher or over the past year of capacity where it has fallen out. And this is telling indication. And that's another good point out there as well, you guys. I truly think that, and we've talked about this on these shows a lot, is positioning yourself in the market to where you can positioning yourself to where you can capture when service failures inevitably start to increase, right? You want to be there. You want to be in your customers' ears, your prospects' ears, or whatever it is, doing whatever you can to have them come to you when the market inevitably shifts, you guys. Because I think that the tolerance for service failures, and again, my company included in this one, you guys, if we fail on a load, I would wholeheartedly expect to be turned off from a customer in today's market, or at least put on the sidelines for a couple of weeks, or who knows how long that will last. I fully expect that. And I think that this is where your opportunities to get in and capture market and grow with your prospects or in customers is going to increase exponentially, is going to happen here as that truck to load ratio starts to get closer and closer to a tight market. And I truly think, you guys, like, this year is going to be like none other that we've seen. And I need to be careful about what I said there when I say this year. I don't know if the market's going to fully shift this year. I don't think anybody really knows at this point, but I will say this: there will be a historic grab for freight volumes when this shift inevitably happens, because we are coming off of a time where it has been extremely easy to cover freight for a very long time, you guys, a very long time. So we need to be in a position to where when things shift, where are you going to be? All right. Because you can't wait to sell. I mean, it's the Pareto principle, I believe, is the terminology of it, but where it is the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your revenue is by like 20% of your business, or 80% of your results are directly tied to 20% of your employees and stuff like that. And I think like there is a lot of freight out there and a lot of companies out there that, like, I would even say it's 90%, as high as 90% of their revenue is tied to a handful of customers. And, you're throwing stones at a glass house at that point, you guys. You really are. And if you're one or two bad breaks away from losing it all, right? So it's like, that's why I push business development so hard. That's why, like yesterday, for example, I just drove around in Arizona and I found like 5 companies that I were not on Google at all. They weren't on my lead software at all. I just drove around because there's a lot of new construction going up, and I want to get ahead of a lot of these things, right? So I like that's kind of my strategy here is I'm going to drive around, and then I'm going to try and set up site visits here Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of this week, just to drop by, stop off, and drop in a business card and everything and introduce myself. No more complex than that. And I think that a lot of us need to be there, because it's like, I don't want their business today, but I want them to think of me when they need to reach out to somebody for their transportation. So I think, like, again, this is a great time for everybody to get out there and check out and prospect, right? And again, I always try and give credit where credit's due, you guys. And I think that this article, you don't have to agree with all the points in it, but there are some really good points in here. And I just wanted to point that out, that talking about the current ratio to operating authority, the ratio of operating authority to tender, where it's at right now, I think is that it's a really good chart to follow. And that's one that I would want to start paying attention to if you're looking for what data can I watch out there, you guys. So that article was from FreightWaves. Derek Scheckler, automate my emails, he says. All right, man. I'll get on that right away, bro, because you said so. Derek, I don't believe in automating my emails to my customers. I want them to know that it's coming from a person, and not an AI bot. And that's the strategy that I'm going to stick with for the eternity of my company. But I appreciate it, man. Robert Cowton, good morning to you. Yeah, man, it was Ricky Fowler definitely was the first one to orange it up, man. But I'm a big Ricky Fowler fan. And then he says that the few loads that I do post, I spend 90% vetting the addressee apples, and a lot of bad actors. Use extreme caution selecting carriers. Use all available tools to screen. Broker Carrier's got a free tool, you guys. You guys can go out there. If you guys can't afford any vetting software, go to Broker Carrier and check that out. And let me see. And Robert Bain, I've been preaching it. Build the network before you need it. Amen to that. And yeah, I mean, Derek, I know that there's automated tools out there, man. This is just a perspective of my own that I want to personally hit send on that. I want it to come from me. That's all, man. And I know that there's some great tools out there. I really do. And it's just a personal preference of mine that I'm going to stick with on that. Let me see here. And let me see. See, this is a good take. This next article is from the JOC. And then obviously I had Ari Ash on the show yesterday. And what we, with talking about intermodal. And this one, it's a good take on where the market is right now. And this is the first time that I've seen somebody release this information out there, is that it's intermodal intermodal rail and private fleets absorbing U.S. freight growth. And I thought that, I'm like, I haven't read this article yet, but, there has been a lot of talk about the privatization of some of the fleets out there. And from my perspective, it is one of those options that is ever increasing when you look at the Dollar General effect and everything else, and how many other, I know of a couple of other customers that have started building out their fleets and stuff like that. So I think like that is going to be kind of a rise in stuff that is fighting the volume battle that is out there. So let me see here. Customer got a reply. All right, let's go here. All right, so this article was written by Bill Cassidy, and it says that there are some signs that U.S. freight demand is starting to rise, but growth in shipments so far has been mostly handled by rail and shipper-owned private fleets that are out there, according to ACT Research. ACT's comments on the Cass Freight Index data are the latest indication that shippers are playing a larger role than is typically known in prolonging what has been a shipper market in truckload pricing by moving freight in their own privately owned trucks. It goes on to say that that's helping keep a lid on for-hire truckload spot rates that have been bouncing around the bottom since June of 2023. Private fleets are now more actively competing for spot freight to fill empty backhauls, lengthening below trend for-hire demand levels that are out there. And then the Cass Freight Shipment Index, a measure of freight volume across the board, dropped 1.3% in April from March and 4% year over year. And then it goes on to say for-hire trucking fleets still likely are seeing soft demand because of significant private fleet capacity additions in the past couple of years, said Tim Denoyer. Large truckload carriers have reacted with steep cuts in their own capacity, pulling the JOC truck capacity index down to levels it hasn't seen since 2017. Higher U.S. imports are creating more freight, but most of that is moving by rail at this point. Rising import volumes are creating intermodal rail backlogs on some West Coast ports. Intermodal rail volumes are up year over year, rising 7%. To this date, intermodal traffic is up 8.7%. Chemical is up 4%. Petroleum and petroleum products are up 10%. And forest products are up 0.9% out there. I think that, it goes on. It's a good thing to watch at the end of the day, because I've talked to a few shippers that are completely privatized in their fleet, and they deadhead back empty with their fleets, right? Because like they want to control their supply chain and everything else, but they are open to taking back freight from those markets, like as long as it works for them, right? Because they can't wait for anything right? So it's like they would rather come back empty if unless the freight works out. And then for a person that I know that manages this fleet for a private shipper, like that, he had said, he's like, man, he's like, we will come back to cover our costs, right? And he's like, and our costs are extremely low compared to most people. So he's like, I'll go out there and take whatever. If it works out, I'll come back, just to cover our costs on that perspective. So that's a growing trend that I think people need to start watching at the end of the day. And then, obviously you guys, shippers aren't dumb, right? Like I think like some of these times, some of the information and data that I see out there, I'm like, I think people fail to realize how smart a lot of shippers actually are and the credit that you need to give them. They're going to explore the most cost saving option. All right. It's their fiduciary responsibility in their job. They all have budgets to work off of as well. So it's like if intermodal is significantly cheaper, of course they're going to go intermodal, right? So again, it's like where you got to focus on your controllables more than anything. Then it goes on to talk about going in-house. On U.S. highways, while thousands of smaller companies shut their doors last year, shippers apparently added trucks and drivers. In a recent analysis, ACT has said private fleets were partly responsible for increased Class 8 truck orders in 2023, even as truckload rates fell. Private fleets operating on longer truck replacement cycles were planning for 2027 emission rules. But shippers also are taking more control over their supply chains and transportation options. Various types of shippers have told the JOC that they are using private fleets more tactically as a competing transportation mode to mitigate risk and contain costs. And, and then again, this is a direct quote from my friend who has his own private fleet. Like he said, is, hey, whenever one of our trucks breaks down, he's like, we know exactly where it is and we know exactly how we're going to get it fixed and when we're going to get it fixed. We can send a replacement truck right away. And that's one thing that they're working out in there as well, right? So it's more of controlling their controllables and making that investment in there. And then it goes on to say that private fleets are evolving as shippers rethink how to create and the optimal way to get their goods to market. Sherry Sanger, a senior vice president of Penske Transportation Solutions, told the JOC companies such as Penske, which leases trucks to shippers, are providing more data on private fleet operations and costs. And this is one factor that is slowing the truckload pricing cycle out there. To extend private fleets are successful filling backhauls, it will further delay the for-hire cycle, said Tim Denoyer with ACT Research. However, private fleets are not nearly as cost-effective as for-hire fleets, so it will turn eventually. He added, I think it's a great data point, and it's unique because this is the first article that I've seen to my memory on talking about how the growth of private fleets has absorbed some of that freight and how that is affecting the market as a whole. And from my perspective, again, I think that we need to take all things into consideration as we're looking at what are potential factors that will affect the market as a whole and the rebound and where things are going. So that article was from the joc.com. And that is intermodal rail and then private fleets, absorbing U.S. freight growth out there. But that's going to be it for today. I don't think we'll have time for the third article to break down because your boy's got some freight to move and I got stuff going on today. But we will have guests coming on, I think, for the rest of the week, actually. Let me see here. Let me pull up the whole calendar here. Yep, we're talking produce market tomorrow. And then we're talking training on Thursday. And then Friday, we're doing our financial Fridays. We're going to talk about broker margins and broker financial performance and everything else on that show as well, you guys. But we will be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. So as always, you guys, if you guys found value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network because if you see value, your network will see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.